Jully. So for me, you know, the kind of epiphany moment was when I first began hearing English New Wave. It's two things. It's really twofold. So, English New Wave culture. So the first few older records, Depeche Mode, and the Human League, and Cabaret Voltaire. All of those first records, I remember hearing them. You know, this is coming from a kid. I had no social life because I was practicing the piano and studying composition. And I remember hearing them and thinking, oh my God, you know, Mozart or Brahms or Clementi or Bach are alive today. These instruments are what they would be exploring, for sure. And so that, in tandem with the early kind of 80s breakdance music culture, and hearing that, those two things, you know, I was blown away. I was like, I have to get some of these instruments to experiment with. Because a lot of the composers I studied as a kid, they were trying to expand the kind of tonality that was possible at the time, and they were so limited. You know, they had violin, viola, cello, contrabass, brass, woodwinds, choir, and so, you know, even someone like Wagner was saying, hey, let's have a brass stand in the back of the auditorium, right? And that was this kind of rattle and shifting timbre, you know. And so when I heard the first synth records, you know, I thought, this is what all my heroes have been looking for. And so anyway, I was hooked, you know. I was about 12, 11 or 12, and it was the same time I was learning to build computers and all that. So those two things really dovetail with my love of computers and computer programming, and then coming off the back of classical music and discovering breakdance culture and English New Wave. It was all just kind of the perfect storm. Funny, you know, once something begins to take shape, and then you sort of start to say, oh, this is that, and I want to make it the best of that it can be, you know. It's kind of like baking, you know, you're just, at the beginning you're making dough, and then, you know, suddenly at the end it's like you've got muffins, cookies, whatever else, and you kind of like know as it goes, like, that's what this is. Once you're into it, but for me the most exciting part is just that walking around and, for example, having a melody running around in your head that you can't shake or get rid of, and you think, God, this is a really beautiful melody. You know, I can't wait to just pull it on your insides. And then, as something takes shape, and then you realize, oh, this is something for a film that I'm scoring, or this is something, you know, this is a big trance piece, or this is, something very experimental. You know, so to me, honestly, the real thrill is that feeling of like this melody or a lyric or something that's just kind of rolling around inside you that you got to get out of you.
That gives you goosebumps, right?
Yeah,
kind of
where you're
feeling.
like, oh my God, it's like turning, exactly,
right.
You're giving yourself a goosebump moment, and when I have that, I'm like desperate to get an instrument so I can get that out, you know. So some of my favorite ones that I've had like that I've carried around for a long time, have turned into dance music and specifically into trance. So, and not saying that because I'm answering this for you guys, but that being said, you know, it just all depends. It's like the real thrill is that, like, it's almost like you have a secret that you want to like tell to other people, but it's not something you can have a conversation about.
Right.
You kind of have to go through it and then, hey. And they took a group of kids and they followed them from the time that they of birth to the age of 35. I think I'm pretty sure it's Princeton. You can look up the study. And the metric of happiness they defined by working significant other relationship, happiness in your job, right? So like proficiency in what you do. There are all these different demarcations for happiness. And so they did a study, and it was like 1,000 people, and they followed them for 35 years. And the number one thing that determined a person's overall well-being and happiness was having family meals. That like mind-boggling. Not socioeconomic, not the neighborhood you're raised in, not being from a single-parent home, a divorced family, an intact family. None of that. A family meal. That's it. And like, and there were some other ones too that were mind-blowing. But at any rate, my family is super important to me, and that's something that keeps me grounded. It makes me feel very creative and focused. You know, so yeah. Anyway,
that moment that you brought out with Laura during ETC set, was that special to you?
That was literally one of the greatest moments of my whole life.
It was
of my entire life, honestly. And you know, she's sitting back there. You know, her lights here backstage a lot. I think when we've got a thing that's kind of earlier, like she's asleep now, but you know, a thing that's earlier that she can go and experience, and that was super special for her to. You know, I kind of look back and you can see that she wanted to come up and, you know, I was like, come here for a second, go check this out.
To see what crowd is.
I'll never, I mean, the thing about that picture that you can't see is her face and her eyes, and I'll never forget it, just the way that she lit up.
Glowing, right?
It really connected for her, like, wow, you know, this guy that takes care of me and tucks me in bed at night, like, does this too, this is crazy. You know, she really connected that then, and it was awesome. I watched it happen, so it was pretty special. I think that now things have changed fairly dramatically, and you know, there's so many ways to learn the craft and the discipline now, and it's, you know, it used to be necessitated to attend, you know, music school, you know, or a conservatory, and you can still do that, and you will have an incredibly robust and rich understanding of the craft if you choose that path. But if, you know, you're a kid and you want to make music, you know, trying super hard, you can do that at your home now, you know. You can do that watching YouTube tutorials or macro audio videos and Sonic Academy videos. It's like, literally, like, all the tools are there to
it's available for you to
and what you want to do. The thing that I always, my little sort of hidden agenda, something I'm always trying to sink in there with people that are coming up is, it's not enough to be good, and it's not enough to have something unique to say, and it's not enough to make things that are evocative. None of that is enough. What your goal should be is to do something that has meaning. And depending on who you are as a person, and we're all different, right? We share so much stuff, but we're all different. You bring that piece with you. And so, you know, I think that is the really important part to sync with young producers is, you know, what you're doing has to be about something, or you're not going to add anything. And so, you know, in addition to developing your abilities and your voice, you know, be about something. Well, a lot of stuff. So,
eat a mama burger.
a lot of stuff. Some things that would probably surprise you, like, you know, I love to fight. It's crazy, but I really love sparring. So that really helps me unwind. I'm a boy, so I've got lots of energy and stuff. So I love doing that, and I love, you know, working out. And I love being outside in nature. And I particularly love scuba diving, so that's a cross-section of the stuff.
She works in marine biology.
I love that. That's awesome. I'm a DMT. I'm almost a dive master.
Wow.
I'm only advanced.
That's awesome. Have you guys been diving out here in Catalina?
I go there every week.
Do you really? How cool is that? Check this out. Have you guys seen the Skywalking video?
Yes.
Okay, wait, you don't even know. We're doing a follow-up to the Skylarking video, but we're going to do it diving. So we're doing, nobody knows this.
Right.
So we're doing one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast. They're called Tidal. And the guy that I did the Skylarking video with, I'm gonna help with the camera rigging. So we're going to do some of them, like submerged cameras, do stop motion, like these tidal pools.
Wow.
And here, we're going to go to Catalina, and we're going to go to the kelp forest, and I'm going to rig some GoPros with clamps, and probably about 30 30 feet, and what we're gonna try to capture is a sunset. So within the kelp forest.
Right.
So fingers crossed.
I'm already getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. Actually, that's fantastic.
Can you imagine that, the stop motion underwater? I've never seen that before. Like, and I've been Googling all over the place, looking. That's a hard one. I've dealt with the craziest. Maybe I'm going to go with Korea. I'm going with Korea and I'm sticking with it. Yeah. So whenever I go to Korea, my fans there they're so awesome. Like, but it's like go to the airport with you and awesome. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I love you guys. Bye. I'll be back. I promise I'm coming back. Wow, this is but awesome. That's like one of my favorite places to go. Another place that's like that for me is China, honestly, where it's very emotional.
Like a government expressed, and then we see someone like you probably that feel like
Super
something
emotional. I had this guy the last time I did a tour in China, and he was backstage and he was like literally, you know, I don't know, he was probably 29 years old, just bawling and crying. He told it finally, got calmed it down, and he told me a story about how it's emotional for me to talk about. He had a stack of records. He said, you know, that they sat in the grandparents' basement, and they listened to these records, and they listened to them quietly, and if the government had ever caught them, that they would have just disappeared. And he bought these records on the black market, and he's like, I grew up in this country where I wasn't allowed to have feelings, and he's like, his music just ripped my insides out. He's like, you have no idea what your work means to me and stuff. I mean, it choked me up. It was so emotional.
Right.
I can't even tell you, but you know, it's hard to pick like a place where there's like the. But it's funny because people that I have that are actual fans, I get people all the time come up to me at Starbucks and they're like, yo, what's up, BTS? You know, whatever, this kind of thing. And
I know one song.
and it feels great. It really does, you know, to be appreciated like that. But when you get somebody that comes up to you and they, you know, and I get a lot of things sent to me too. You know, we get something sent to you, or somebody writes you a letter, and it's just like so humbling. There's not words for it, you know. Oh God, that's a hard one. Skydiving is like two experiences. It's like you have to like, you know, like your brain is melting apart, right? And then when you open your parachute, it's a totally different thing. Where like the parachute opening, that's like kind of like you're probably thinking something of mine, but that's like reminds me of the feeling of like skywalking. Big wide open feeling, so it's jumping. That's like listening to, I don't know. Two totally different experiences. Probably, you know, the first times I ever felt that were just being on the street in my home country and somebody coming up to me and saying, hey, are you BT? And you're like, this, like, is my sister back there? I got used to that being outside of the country, you know, but then it was like when I came home, I was safe because nobody was music here at all. And so it was when people started to recognize me, I think, when I was just in some random place, that's when I sort of started to feel like, wow, something's happening here too. You know what I mean? So,